Hello, Internet. Test 1, 2. It is a snowy Saturday afternoon in Minnesota, the Saturday after Thanksgiving, and the Saturday after my trip down to Rochester a few days ago. I promised that I would give you guys an update. I wasn't sure I would have time to get on here and think through a video. So this is not going to be long either, but I know there's some of you, a lot of you maybe, out there who are waiting to hear something. So I just wanted to give you kind of the basic lowdown of what happened on Tuesday. I kind of received the news that I was expecting. Um, there's kind of three possibilities when I go through these 3-month assessments. One possibility is that things will be 100% clean. That rarely happens, by the way. The second possibility is that we have some adjustments, some degree of progression, but nothing extremely dramatic or unexpected. And then the third possibility would be that we have things that are a little more dramatic and maybe worse than expected. So I am happy to report that option number 2 is what we have this time, and that tends to be what I expect. My blood work was all very, very good. You guys have heard me mention my CEA before, the carcinoembryonic antigen number. It's been running below 1.0 for a long time, like 0.5 for all through the summer, and the last number I had was 0.8, which was in late August. That number is now up to 1.4. And to put that in perspective, way back when I was first diagnosed, that number was over 100. I can't remember exactly where it was, but it was a high number. Then after my liver resection, it dropped to like 4 or 5. And since that time, it has spiked as high as 3.7. That was before my treatment, which started back last winter. But anyway, for that number to go from 0.5 to 1.4, I'm sorry, from 0.8 to 1.4 is not alarming at all. But what we do is, it's not so much the number itself, it's watching the trends, like which way is the number going and how quickly. So 0.8 to 1.4 over the period of 3 months is not that alarming at all, but it does indicate that there is something going on, and that is what the scans did show. To nail it all down or break it all down, I still have spots in my liver. In my lungs. They are very small. I have a 6 millimeter little nodule in my right lung and a 6 millimeter nodule in my left lung. Each of those grew by 1 millimeter. That means they were 0.5 3 months ago, and now they're 0.6 centimeters. I'm getting the millimeters and centimeters mixed up. I hope you're following me. What I mean is 5 to 6 millimeters, so an increase of 1 millimeter or 0.1 centimeter. That is not very alarming. Those things are still too small to biopsy. They're too small to go in and ablate, and they haven't really grown or progressed very much all of this past year. So my oncology team is not super concerned about that. The thing that we are concerned about is there is a brand new spot on my liver. Was not there last time, and now it is 14 millimeters, which is 1.4 centimeters. That's small, but the fact that it came out of nowhere during the last 3 months is the most remarkable thing on my scans that we need to look at. As you know, I had ablations back in July, and those were some leftover spots in my liver that had shrunk from the chemo and the treatment that I had February, March, April of this last year. and the ablations wiped them out. However, this new spot on my liver is exactly right next to the ablation cavity. So basically, what that's telling us is those cancer cells are still in my liver. And that is absolutely not a surprise. Even though I have had immunotherapy, chemotherapy, ablations, the fact is cancer cells are circulating in my body. And it is something that we have to continue to watch. You guys have heard me talk about I'm in a chronic condition where my cancer needs to be managed. I need to be under surveillance. It's whack a mole, meaning you get rid of one and then another thing pops up. But the whole point is that we have to stay on top of it and we have to take a look at the tools in the toolkit and decide what is the best course of action. Okay, the other thing on the scans was that I have a couple of lymph nodes in my abdomen, like pretty much straight in the middle of my abdomen, my belly. Two lymph nodes that have grown slightly since the last scans. These things do not grow quickly. They are not super concerning, but again, it tells us that cancer cells are active. And that is not a surprise. It's not a shock. So it's just the reality of what I'm dealing with and what my life is about right now. So I was neither upset nor elated when I saw my results on Tuesday afternoon. And when I sat down with my oncology team, I actually met a new member of the team. He's a fellow. He's from Idaho, but he's been doing his fellowship at Mayo. And I met with him first, and then my oncologist came in, and the three of us put our heads together. And as always is the case, I always feel like there's a consensus. And I was a little bit surprised because I thought for sure they would want me to go straight back on treatment of some kind to deal with this new recurrence. But they are going to, this is as of Tuesday, they were going to contact interventional radiology or radiological oncology department and see whether they would like to go in and ablate this single spot that has recurred in my liver. And so with the Thanksgiving holiday, things are kind of on hold. I haven't heard anything. I haven't gotten any emails. Nothing's popped up since my appointment Tuesday. That was late Tuesday afternoon. So I'm not expecting to really hear anything until next week. But if radiology doesn't greenlight an ablation, then it looks like what we're going to do is reconvene in early January after Christmas, after the holidays, and we will work out and schedule my next cycles of treatment. So that means I would be going back on probably the panitumumab, and it looks like we will do the 5FU, which I jokingly referred to as my nuclear football a few years ago. It's the 48-hour infusion that I take home after my infusion in the oncology clinic, and it slowly infuses for a period of 48 hours, and then it gets disconnected. They're thinking that that combination, the panitumumab and the 5FU, is going to be a better combo for me based on my horrible side effects from the Pani and capecitabine pills that I was on earlier in 2025. So we're going to work all that out. We're also looking at the possibility that I would get a port placed again. I haven't had a port since before the since the endocarditis issue, which is now exactly 3 years ago. They had to take that port out, even though they had just placed it. So I've been getting my infusions via a temporary IV line, but I can't do that if I'm going to be having the nuclear football 5FU pump. I know all that's a lot of info. Some of you have been tracking since the beginning, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. Some of you may want to rewatch this and let it sink in because it's quite a bit of stuff. The point is though, none of it is shocking, none of it is really unexpected. Um, we are going to work out something where I can get my infusions locally. There's a partnership with a local clinic here. It's called Minnesota Oncology. They have an official partnership with Mayo, which has been developing recently. And I have kind of connected the dots and realized that I can keep my oncology team in Rochester at Mayo, but they will liaise with a local clinic here in the Twin Cities area so that I don't have to be going back and forth to Rochester for treatment. Again, that's down the road. That would be January, probably the middle of January at the earliest. So what we're doing right now is we're waiting to hear back from Radonc, which is in interventional radi interventional radiology, to see if they want to do an ablation. And then we will reassess, and that's the story. So 11 minutes, I try to keep these from getting too long, and that's it in a nutshell on this Saturday after Thanksgiving 2025. So I will probably be making more frequent videos in the coming weeks as all this stuff unfolds. As you know, I was very blessed and fortunate to have a quiet late summer, a quiet fall, so I wasn't posting very much. But now that things are going to be getting a little more active again, I will check in with you guys to keep you updated on developments. So there you go. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving and you've enjoyed leftovers. We all have lots of leftovers, don't we? I love leftovers. And football on TV all the time. Some of us like that, some of us do not, I realize. But anyway, my love to all of you, thanking you for your love and support of me, which I appreciate massively. And I'll talk to you later. Thank you. Bye bye.